course, no one wants to offend people on purpose, but when it comes to describing people with disabilities, it's sometimes hard to know what to say. Tonight in a story you'll only see on CBS 11 News, Lauren Maxwell tells us why choosing the right words is so important.
And where I started getting called the bad names was junior high and high school.
Faye Peace hasn't been in school for many years, but she still remembers the day she hid in her closet so she wouldn't have to face the taunts of her classmates.
And then Mom comes up and was putting laundry away, and she says, "Faye Marie, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to sit in my closet, not going to school, and I'm going to stay here because I'm a retard. I know nothing, not going to school."
Faye did go to school that day after her parents convinced her she had nothing to be ashamed of and was as good as anyone else. Today, she's proved that many times. She has a job, her own condo, and is recently married. But not every child who gets a negative label early in life can let it go so easily.
They're already struggling. They're already being told that they're in a special class. They're already being told about the things that they can't do. And when we label them with names, that just becomes their future.
Gwendolyn Lee is the executive director of the Arc of Anchorage, and she's pushing for a new way to describe people with disabilities that's called People First language.
The person has to come first. The disability is just a piece of who they are, not all of who they are.
And she wants the public to get on board.
The best advice when you don't know what to say is to think people first. For example, Johnny has brain damage as opposed to Johnny is brain damaged, or Susan uses a wheelchair as opposed to Susan is wheelchair bound.
It's a way of not phrasing things that people see them as being their condition.
Becky Bronstein is with the Stone Soup Group, a nonprofit that helps families who have children with disabilities. She's a big believer in the power of People First language. In fact, she says she'd like to see more people with disabilities using it themselves.
It's kind of a form of advocacy that you can use every day, say, no, I'm not a special needs person, I'm not a disabled person, I'm a person who has a disability. I mean, it's just a simple thing you can do to kind of empower yourself.
And one more thing that anyone can do is to speak up when someone uses language that offends.
You have to say, "This isn't right. This offends me." If I hear it in conversation, I will say that.
Because putting people first means taking a stand, and sometimes we owe that to each other. Lauren Maxwell, CBS 11 News.
The Arc of Anchorage broke ground on a crisis housing unit today that will give people with disabilities an alternative to the Alaska Psychiatric Institute. Organizers say the center will provide a safe, comfortable option when a mental health, behavioral, or other emergency needs to be addressed. Because of a limited amount of beds available at API, sometimes the patients wait for weeks for a bed at a local hospital. According to the ARC's executive director, the housing center will decrease demand for unnecessary placement at the Institute and save beds for people who need hospitalization.
We get calls for people who have to come in from the village. The psychiatric hospital is not the appropriate placement. They just need a place to stay while we stabilize and figure out what's going on in their lives.
The ARC will remodel an existing building for the crisis unit. The legislature provided funds for the center.
Well, tonight, the Arc of Anchorage is celebrating the opening of its new crisis housing unit. Construction began on the remodeling of an existing building on the Arc campus. The new crisis center will be able to safely and comfortably house patients with mental health or behavioral issues. Patients were previously being sent to API because there are a few other choices here in Anchorage. The crisis center will help decrease the need for unnecessary placement at API and save those beds for patients who really need the hospitalization.
The Arc of Anchorage broke ground yesterday on a crisis housing unit that will help the demand for mental health services in the community. Organizers say the center will provide a safe, comfortable option when mental health or behavioral or other emergency needs need to be addressed. Because of the limited amount of beds available at the Anchorage Psychiatric Institute, sometimes patients wait for weeks for a bed at a local hospital. ARC's executive director says the center will decrease demand for unnecessary placement at the Institute and save beds for people who need hospitalization.
Or sometimes there may be an emergency in a regular residential home that we have where one person is exhibiting some behaviors to make them not safe to live with the other people. We need to have a place to stabilize them and help deal with those behaviors.
The ARC will remodel an existing building for the crisis unit. The legislature provided funds for the center.
And finally tonight, the red carpet was rolled out in Anchorage for the world premiere of a unique movie.
The ARC of Anchorage released Silent but Deadly tonight, a silent film created by individuals with disabilities. Everyone in the film, from the directors to the producers and the actors, are served by the ARC of Anchorage. The celebration tonight included the first movie premiere, plus celebrity interviews and a press conference. Those involved say their goal was to have fun and offer a project that anyone at the ARC could be a part of.
It's great that things like this happen because these individuals, they're just people like you and I, like anybody else, and they're up on the screen and they're performing and they are wonderful. And it's not about their disability anymore, it's about their performance and how great they were.
And the short film took about 8 months to make.
Congratulations. Big night there at the ARC. This is great.
And today, another movie was released. The movie Silent but Deadly premiered today at the ARC of Anchorage. The film was perhaps the first written, filmed, edited, and released movie by those who experience disabilities in our state. The stars celebrated all their hard work today by walking the red carpet, doing interviews with the press, and enjoying the first screening. ARC of Anchorage staff says that the experience was both fun and beneficial to all who were involved.
This is huge for the individuals that we serve because they see that not only I'm not just showing up just to waste my time, they're actually producing something. They're getting together and they're working on their words and they're becoming characters, and then they get put on the big screen, and you know we get to tell them, you are stars now.
The movie will be released worldwide on YouTube Friday, October 15th, just in time for Halloween. Can't wait to see it.